Every generation gets one World Cup that feels like an ending, not just because a trophy gets lifted, but because when the final whistle blows, some of the greatest footballers we've ever United States, Canada, and Mexico is exactly that tournament. This is where legends who defined an entire era of football, Ballon d'Or winners, World Cup champions, era-defining goalkeepers, are saying goodbye. In this video, we're counting down 7 football stars who are retiring or are widely expected to retire after this World Cup. Some have confirmed it themselves, others haven't said the words out loud, but everyone watching knows what's coming. Let's get into it. We start with a name that doesn't always get the same spotlight as the household superstars, but deserves it just as much. Riyad Mahrez. Mahrez has spent over a decade representing Algeria, becoming one of the most decorated African footballers of his generation. A 5-time Premier League winner, a Champions League winner, and one of the most technically gifted wingers to ever play the African Cup of Nations, Mahrez has done it all at club level and carried that quality onto the international stage. Mahrez confirmed that this tournament marks the end of his international career. It's a quieter retirement compared to some of the bigger names on this list, but for Algerian football fans, it's the end of an era. Mahrez leaves as one of the greatest players to ever wear the national jersey and a symbol of Algeria's rise on the world stage over the last 10 years. Next up, a player who redefined what a modern midfielder could be, Luka Modrić. At 40 years old, Modrić entered the 2026 World Cup as one of the oldest players in the tournament and arguably still one of the smartest footballers on the planet. He's a Ballon d'Or winner, a Champions League serial winner, and the heartbeat of a Croatian golden generation that reached a World Cup final and 2 more semi-final level runs. Modrić has been part of the wave of veterans alongside players like Neuer, Ochoa, and Ronaldo, who FIFA and fans alike have recognized as playing their final World Cup in 2026. While Croatia's run in this tournament may not have ended with a trophy, Modric's legacy is already untouchable. Few players have controlled a midfield with as much vision, patience, and sheer footballing IQ. When the history of this generation of Croatian football is written, his name will be at the very top. Now we get to one of the most emotional stories of this entire World Cup, Manuel Neuer. Neuer is widely considered one of the greatest goalkeepers to ever play the game, the man who redefined the sweeper-keeper role and turned German goalkeeping into a modern art form. At 40 years old, Neuer actually came out of international retirement specifically to represent Germany one final time at this World Cup. That farewell tour came to an end when Germany was eliminated in the round of 32 on penalties against Paraguay. After the match, Neuer officially confirmed his retirement from the national team. It was a fitting, if heartbreaking, way for one of football's true innovators to close the book on an international career that included a World Cup title back in 2014. Neuer's influence on how goalkeepers play the game today cannot be overstated. An entire generation of keepers grew up trying to imitate his style. Sticking with legendary goalkeepers, our next entry is a fan favorite across the football world, Jamel Belmadi. Belmadi, who turned 40 during this tournament, became one of the most beloved World Cup figures of the last 2 decades, not because he played for the biggest clubs, but because of exactly the opposite. He built his entire reputation inside World Cup tournaments themselves, delivering unforgettable performances against giants like Brazil and Germany over the years, all while spending the majority of his club career in Mexico rather than Europe's super leagues. After Mexico's exit from the 2026 World Cup, Ochoa was seen kissing the goalpost and bowing to fans with tears in his eyes before he walked off the pitch. Speaking afterward, he said he was leaving peacefully and with his head held high, proud to have experienced everything this tournament gave him. Ochoa's story is a reminder that World Cup legends aren't only made at the big clubs. Sometimes they're made by simply showing up, tournament after tournament, and delivering when it matters most. Our number 3 spot belongs to a player who for over a decade was one of the most talented and most scrutinized footballers on the planet, Neymar. Neymar's international career began back in 2010, and remarkably, his final World Cup match came on the very same New Jersey field where he made that international debut. It's the kind of full-circle moment that football writes for its biggest stars. Brazil's tournament ended with a 2-1 loss to Norway in the round of 16, with Neymar scoring Brazil's only goal from the penalty area, made him one of the most must-watch players of his generation. Brazilian football now turns the page to its next generation of stars, but Neymar's chapter closes as one of the most talented and most debated in the sport's history. We're almost at the top, and at number 2, we have arguably the greatest footballer of all time, Lionel Messi. Messi hasn't made a formal, official retirement statement, but there's a near universal understanding across the football world that this 2026 World Cup, his 6th appearance at the tournament, is his last. He arrived in North America at 39 years old, defending the title he and Argentina won so dramatically in Qatar back in 2022. Think about what that means for a moment. This is a player who has already achieved literally everything the sport has to offer. League titles, Champions Leagues, Ballon d'Ors, Copa Americas, and a World Cup. There was nothing left to prove. He came back anyway, at 39, carrying the weight of a nation's expectations one more time, just for the chance to add one final page to the greatest career football has ever seen. Whatever happens in the final stretch of this tournament, Messi's World Cup story is complete, and it's one that will be told for generations. And finally, at number 1, the player whose retirement is the most definitive of them all, Cristiano Ronaldo. Unlike most of the names on this list, Ronaldo didn't leave any ambiguity. He told CNN back in November 2025 in no uncertain terms that 2026 would definitely be his last World Cup. His reasoning was simple and honest. He'd be 41 years old. This was his 6th World Cup and the only major trophy that had ever eluded him. Portugal's run came to an end with a 1-0 loss to Spain in the round of 16. Afterward, a visibly emotional Ronaldo thanked what he called the generosity of a career that gave him more than he ever imagined achieving. It's a poetic way to close out a World Cup career for a player who, for over 15 years, was constantly compared to Messi in arguably the greatest individual rivalry the sport has ever seen. Ronaldo leaves the World Cup stage without the one trophy he wanted most, but with a legacy built on goals, records, and a level of dedication to his craft that pushed him to compete at an elite level well into his 40s. Few athletes in any sport have extended their peak as long as Ronaldo did. So, that's our list. 7 football stars saying goodbye to the World Cup stage in 2026. Ronaldo, Messi, Neymar, Ochoa, Neuer, Modrić, and Mahrez. 7 completely different careers, 7 completely different stories, but all part of the same golden generation that carried global football to new heights. Which one of these farewells hit you the hardest? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like and subscribe for more World Cup content.